Speaker, I want to add my voice into the ills of this habit. The previous speaker was very categorical that this thing, I believe in all faiths, I know in Islamic faith, is banned. It actually says in Arabic, "Rijsun min amal al-shaytan." It is the lowest morals of the devil. The devil is the devil, Lucifer. We know him to have no morals. He destroys humanity. Even within that low moral of the devil, or Lucifer. This is the lowest of the law. We have destroyed generations of this country. And the thing itself is compulsive. If you've ever heard of addiction, the alcohol addiction, the drugs addiction, the cat addiction, this is the most compelling, compulsive addiction. Once somebody gets into this habit, he doesn't know what he's doing. He will sell his properties, he will sell the school fees of his children, he will sell the food. I mean, he will use all those money for no other reason than to do betting or gambling for that matter. We had, in the early days, a way of protecting this because it was confined to casinos. And casinos were presumed to be the places where the rich people go and look for these services. And the government stood to make a little bit of money out of it. But now, because this thing has been liberalized to the extent in which you can bet 10 shillings, it has come to our homes. A country that has, I think, 67% of its own population living below the poverty line, where poverty is so widespread. But the media, we have become so powerfully savvy that we have one of the highest numbers of per capita access to mobile services. Highest, one of the highest. I believe on a per capita basis, maybe the highest in the continent. We have this, our children, and everybody has access to this through the mobile phone. And because that access is there, then all these poor people see somebody who has made 1 million, 2 million shillings by betting 100 shillings or 200 shillings. And because they're living in such an awful, difficult life, that person says, maybe I could try that and make a jackpot. And that's how gambling feeds itself progressively. It continues that way. Eventually you become addicted to it and you actually steal to gamble. Not only do you use everything that you had yourself, I remember way back, many, many years back, there was an Indian gambler who had misused the last coin for his family. And you know, Indians have a culture in which the father pays the dowry for the daughter to get married. I think he went and took a loan to get his daughter married. But because he was a compulsive gambler, he went and gambled everything away and could not forgive himself. He chopped off his own right hand. It was in the media those days. So I think what we need now is a very powerful government regulation in this. The school dropouts are there. The low grades are there. The truancy is in so what you call widespread, that quite often when you're called by somebody who's calling from a school and tells you that he can't pay the fees, ask him to give you the numbers of the parents, his own parents. Maybe the fees was given to the child, but because he has gambled it all away in one way or the other, then they have to look for other places, like, look for CDF. and you get occasionally and ask the parents and tell them how much money was given to this child, you realize that that child is playing games. We end up paying the fees straight to the schools, but nonetheless, this thing has had an effect across the society, across the society. It is now happening even in villages, in the rural areas, in the very backward rural areas. Backward in the sense that there's no infrastructure, there's very little to show off for purposes of government services and other infrastructures. But still, because they have this smartphone, you find a young person who is in school or in college who has a problem raising 10,000 shillings or 5,000 shillings even for the fare to get to the institution, even if the CDF had to pay the rest, but has got a smartphone that costs about 60,000, 70,000. And one of the things that is really feeding into these things is this kind of very, very bad behaviors. I also agree with the Speaker very well that Member of Parliament for Nyeri, I think the urging element of it is, in my opinion, I'm sure you're trying to look for us to use this as a way of creating a bill, a process of creating a bill from the House itself that controls this thing. And that's, in my opinion, one area. I'm happy with the way it is, but as the Speaker said, maybe you should have done a bit stronger than that. But nonetheless, don't leave at this stage. Proceed on and make sure that the bill is in place. If you need my assistance or you need the Speaker's assistance, we'll be willing to help you on this, because we really need to bring this country's future generations into certain sanity, This is a country in which, in the past, we used to say, in all societies, that the mothers and the women folk and the female gender in this country are the ones who are carrying the burden of this nation. Because you give a man money and he can use it for miraa, he can use it for drinking, he can use it for whatever he has to use it for. But you give a mother money, she takes it to her children. But if you bring this betting to the mother in the house and she decides, I'm suffering so hard, but maybe I can put in 100 shillings in here and have a chance of making 1,000,000 shillings. Out of that desire to try and better the lot of her own family, she could easily get sucked into this compulsive behavior. And that also has got a problem. So this thing is, even the safe areas that we had before, our women folk and the mothers of this country were the ones who are holding the families and holding this nation. I can tell you where I come from. 70% of the people taking care of children and sending them to schools are women. Now, if that is going to again be embedded through this, we then have nothing. We then have nothing, because I haven't seen in my lifetime for 10 women who chew miraa. And I've seen probably 500,000 people who chew miraa who are men. You probably see women who are drunkards, alcoholics, but they're so minuscule when you compare them to overall numbers. And then you look at all the families and the households here, how they've been taken care of by the female gender. Now you take this into that. This is already also creeping into that. Very few safe zones that we had before. So the whole nation is going to be destroyed, in my opinion. So I think worse than kumi, worse than miraa, worse than any of those social, ills that we had before, this new phenomena which is imported from outside, by the way, it comes from outside the country, this, we have got to tame it in the soonest possible. Thank you.
Out of order, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sorry. I would like to ask my very good friend and senior to give us statistics proving that miraa is a bad substance, because you have demonized miraa in 3 of your statements. Please provide statistical evidence to prove that miraa is entirely, if you misuse something, that does not mean that something is bad. Honorable Farah Maalim, were you still contributing or you were done?
I was, no, just before I was done is when, but then, you remember, there was way back, there was a matter that was raised on this floor of the House, in which Martin Shikuku said, Kanu is dead, and then Seremai said, there's no need to substantiate the obvious. I say that there's no need to substantiate the obvious, but if you want to see all those body of what you call research that was done, including this thing being banned in all the developed world. Mira is banned in Somalia, in what do you call in Tanzania, it is banned in Uganda, it is banned in South Sudan, it is banned in all these countries. The only country that is not banned, I can agree with you because you come from a miracle growing zone. But tell me, go back to your own self now in real sense. And Speaker, can I take 1 more minute? 1 minute before I...
No, the procedures of the House do not allow a member to stand on a point of order to reopen debate for a member who has concluded.
Yes. No,
and that is what you are doing.
I was just before I concluded.
You will have 30 seconds to do so because members want to contribute.
Okay. And it is the all developed world. Go with Mira right now to Saudi Arabia. You'll rot in jail for the rest of your life. It's actually life imprisonment. So Mira is a very bad thing. It has destroyed your own people. Even the Mira growing areas, children don't go to school, and you know that very well. But I know you'll get some few votes because of this. But let me tell you one thing.
The Farah Maalim and Honorable Rindikiri can persuade themselves